You won't believe what just exploded behind the scenes of America's favorite family empire, Kirk. Yes, that Kirk, the golden boy who built an entire empire on charm, late-night laughs, and those picture-perfect family reunions, has finally cracked. After months of stone-cold silence, he's leaked the raw, unfiltered truth about the day they fired him. And it's not the creative differences lie the network shoved down our throats. Picture this. One minute, he's the untouchable star, commanding millions in ratings. The next, he's escorted out of the studio like a criminal, security guards flanking him while his own co-stars watched from the wings with smirks they didn't even try to hide. But here's where it gets vicious. Kirk didn't go quietly. In a secret recording that's now blowing up every group chat, he sits in a dimly lit room, eyes blazing with rage and betrayal, and drops the bomb. They didn't fire me for the ratings dip. They fired me because I found out what they were really doing to my family, and I refused to stay silent. His voice cracks on the last word. You can hear the pain, the kind that comes from years of backstabbing, secret deals, and a network that treated his blood relatives like disposable props. Insiders are already whispering that this isn't just about one firing. This is about a decade of buried scandals, hushed payoffs, and a final explosive argument that left producers screaming and Kirk's own wife in tears on the studio floor. Fans are losing their minds. Social media is a war zone, some calling him a hero for finally speaking, others accusing him of burning everything down out of spite. But one thing is crystal clear. Kirk just opened a door nobody wanted unlocked, and the skeletons tumbling out are about to destroy careers, marriages, and the entire glossy facade we've all been fed for years. What he reveals next will change everything, and trust me, you're not ready for how deep this knife goes. It all started on that rainy Tuesday morning when Kirk walked onto the set of Family Empire, the show that had made him a household name for over a decade. His smile was still plastered on billboards across the country, but inside he was carrying a secret that had been eating him alive for months. The cameras were already rolling as the family gathered for what was supposed to be another heartwarming episode about rebuilding trust. After a fake scandal, but Kirk knew the truth, the producers had been forcing his wife Lisa to cry on cue and his teenage kids to act out arguments that never happened in real life. He pulled the head producer Mark aside in the green room, his hands shaking with rage. "You can't keep doing this to my family," Kirk hissed, his voice low but filled with fire. "You're destroying us for ratings, and I won't let it happen anymore." Mark just smirked and crossed his arms like he owned the world, its entertainment. Kirk deal with it or walk. The producers had been leaking fake stories to the tabloids about Lisa having an affair with a crew member just to boost views, and when Kirk confronted them with evidence from his own phone records showing it was all lies, they turned on him. Fast security guards appeared out of nowhere, grabbing his arms as if he was some criminal instead of the star who built their empire. Emotions ran high as Kirk shouted across the studio, "You people are monsters. My kids are watching this garbage and thinking it's real life." The family was left divided, right there on the spot. Lisa stood frozen in tears, begging him to calm down, while his brother-in-law, who played the funny uncle on the show, actually laughed under his breath like it was all a joke. Fans have no idea how deep the betrayal went, but Kirk did. He had spent weeks gathering proof secret emails where the network executives admitted they were paying off sources to spread lies about his marriage. Just to keep the drama alive, he refused to sign the new contract that demanded he go along with a storyline where he cheated on Lisa with a younger co-star. It was all too much. The argument escalated when Mark threatened to ruin his career forever if he didn't comply. "You think you're special, Kirk," he sneered. "We can replace you with any pretty face tomorrow." But Kirk stood tall, his eyes blazing with determination, and said the words that sealed his fate. "Then fire me because I'm done being your puppet." The security dragged him out the back door while the rest of the cast watched from the wings, some with pity but most with that cold, calculating look that said they were relieved it wasn't them. Next, a whole studio fell into chaos as producers scrambled to film a replacement scene pretending Kirk was just sick that day, but the damage was done. Word spread like wildfire among the crew, and soon his phone was blowing up with messages from old friends warning him that the network was already spinning the story as Kirk having a meltdown over creative differences. Little did they know he had recorded the entire confrontation on a hidden device in his pocket. That night, back at home, the family drama exploded. Lisa collapsed on the couch, sobbing, "How could you throw everything away like that? Our kids need stability." But Kirk held. Her close whispering, "The real reason they wanted me gone isn't ratings, it's because I found out about the hush money they paid to cover up Mark's own affair with one of the interns." and how they were using our show to launder favors for big sponsors, his voice cracked with pain as he revealed the layers of corruption that went all the way to the top executives who had been blackmailing cast members with old secrets. To keep them loyal, the kids overheard everything, and soon the house was filled with accusations. In tears, his daughter screamed at him, "Dad, you ruined our lives." While his son stood silent in the corner, eyes wide with confusion, the family was torn apart in ways no camera could ever capture. But Kirk knew he had to fight back. He spent the next weeks in hiding, editing that secret tape, making sure every shocking detail was crystal clear. The BT trail wasn't just about him. It was about how the network had turned his real-life struggles into entertainment, gold forcing fake interventions and scripted breakdowns that left everyone emotionally drained. Fans started noticing the sudden absence first, with hashtags like "Where's Kirk" trending overnight. Some loyal supporters defended him, saying he deserved better, while others bought the network's lies, calling him ungrateful and washed up. But inside, Kirk was preparing the biggest bombshell of his career. He sat down in that dimly lit room, the one from the leaked video, his face pale but determined, and began speaking directly into the camera. "They fired me not because I couldn't deliver lines, or because the ratings dipped slightly." He said, his voice steady at first. Then, breaking with raw emotion, "They fired me because I refused to let them destroy my family any longer. I caught them red-handed, planting stories about my wife's supposed drinking problem just to create a redemption arc for Sweeps Week. It was also calculated, so evil that I couldn't sleep at night." The shock of it all hit him again as he recounted the final meet-in where Mark had actually offered him a bribe to stay quiet, take the money. Kirk had slammed the check on the table and walked out, vowing to expose everything. The tape continued, with him revealing hidden contracts that showed the producers owned the rights to his kids' images forever, even if the show ended, forcing them into future seasons against their will. His wife Lisa joined him. Briefly on camera, her eyes red from crying, but her voice strong, when she added, "They told me if I didn't go along with the affair rumors, they'd make sure Kirk never worked again." It was pure manipulation, the kind that leaves scars no one sees on TV screens. Reactions poured in from every corner. His former co-stars started posting vague supportive messages on social media without naming names, while sub-insiders leaked that the network was in full panic mode, holding emergency meetings to figure out damage control. Old friends from the industry reached out in private, saying they had seen the same tactics used on other families and were glad someone finally spoke up. But the real twist came when Kirk discovered even deeper secrets during his investigation. Turns out the show's main sponsor had been pressuring producers to keep the family looking dysfunctional so their own products like therapy apps and divorce lawyers could tie in seamlessly. It was a web of greed that stretched far beyond one firing Kirk. Paused in the video, his hands clenched as he said the words that would change everything. "And if they think I'll stay silent after what they did to my marriage, my kids, and my legacy, they're wrong. This is just the beginning." The emotions ran so high that night at home that Lisa and Kirk argued for hours about whether leaking it all was worth the risk of losing everything they had built. The kids hid in their rooms, texting friends in disbelief, while the family dog even seemed to sense the tension, pacing restlessly. Fans who caught wind of the early leaks through anonymous posts were already splitting into camps, some demanding justice for Kirk and calling for boycotts of the network, while others accused him of being bitter and attention-seeking. But deep down, everyone could feel the shift. This wasn't just a firing, it was the unraveling of a carefully crafted empire, built on lies. And Kirk had lit the match that would burn it all down. The days that followed were a blur of lawyers' calls and whispered conversations with trusted allies, who confirmed every detail he had uncovered. The network tried to sue him preemptively, claiming breach of contract, but Kirk had ironclad proof that their own illegal tactics voided everything. Little by little, the story leaked out in bits and pieces, first to a small podcast, then to bigger outlets, until the world was buzzing with questions about what really happened behind those perfect family empire smiles. The shocking truth was only starting to surface, and as Kirk prepared to release the full tape, he knew there was no turning back. The betrayal had cut too deep, and now the whole world was about to see exactly why they had to silence him before he destroys their golden goose once and for all. The pain in his voice during that recording wasn't acting. It was the sound of a man who had finally had enough. After years of smiling through the manipulation, and now with the tape ready to drop, the stage was set for a reckoning that no one in Hollywood saw coming. But the real storm hit when Kirk decided to go public with more than just words. He released snippets of additional recordings that exposed how the network had been spying on his family's private therapy sessions to steal storylines for the show. Imagine that. Your most vulnerable moments turned into entertainment fodder. Without consent, Lisa broke down in a new clip, saying through tears they recorded us during our marriage counseling and twisted my words to make it look like I was the problem all along. Kirk stood beside her, his arm around her shoulders, his face a mask of fury and pain. We trusted them with our lives, and they betrayed that trust in the worst way possible. The family was left divided even further as his brother-in-law Jason, who had been quietly benefiting from the show's success, suddenly turned against him in a leaked text message that read, "Kirk, you're ruining it for all of us. Just take the settlement and disappear." Fans were shocked when that text went viral, splitting the audience into fierce camps, some calling Jason a traitor, while others praised him for trying to save the Empire. Emotions ran high at a secret family meeting held in their backyard under the cover of night, where accusations flew like daggers. Lisa screamed at Jason, "How much did they pay you to stay silent while my husband was dragged away?" Jason shot back, "You don't understand the pressure they put on me, threats about my own side deals. It was survival." But Kirk interrupted, his voice booming with raw power. "Survival at the cost of your own blood, that's not family, that's cowardice." The argument escalated into a full-blown meltdown with the kids crying and neighbors peering over fences, wondering what celebrity chaos was unfolding next. This twist revealed that Jason had actually been the one feeding producers private family information. For extra bonuses, a betrayal that cut Kirk deeper than any firing ever could. As days turned into weeks, Kirk dove deeper into his investigation, uncovering financial records that showed millions funneled through shell companies linked to the show's sponsors. It wasn't just about drama, it was about dirty money and power. The shocking part came when he learned that Mark, the head producer, had been using the show to cover up his own gambling debts by pressuring cast members to endorse shady products. On air, Kirk confronted an old crew member in a tense parking lot meeting. "You knew about this, didn't you?" He demanded, his fists clenched. The crew member nodded reluctantly. "They made us all sign NDAs. But after what they did to you, I'm done staying quiet." This new ally provided even more evidence, including emails where executives joked about breaking up Kirk. And Laya says, marriage for better ratings sweeps the family drama intensified. When Lisa's sister arrived unannounced, accusing Kirk of being selfish for not thinking about the kids' future college funds tied to the show contract. "You've burned bridges that fed us all," she yelled. But Kirk stood firm, explaining how the real threat was the networks plan to replace him with a younger actor and slowly phase out the real family. For scripted actors, it was a complete takeover. Disguised as a reboot, fans poured out support online with trending hashtags demanding justice, while rival networks smelled blood and started courting Kirk for tell-all interviews. The pressure mounted as the original show's ratings began to tank. Without his charismatic presence, producers panicked, holding emergency meetings where voices were heard yelling through closed doors, "We need to destroy him before he destroys us." But Kirk was always one step ahead. He had hired a powerful lawyer who specialized in entertainment scandals, and together they prepared a lawsuit that would expose everything from illegal surveillance to emotional manipulation of minors. On set, his son, in a private moment with his father, said, "Dad, I'm scared but proud of you for standing up." The words nearly broke Kirk, but fueled his determination even more. Meanwhile, Lisa found strength she never knew she had, appearing on a late-night podcast too. Share her side, "They made me sign papers saying I'd never speak about the fake storylines, or else they'd take the house. It was blackmail, pure and simple." Her voice trembled, but carried a fire that inspired thousands of viewers to share their own stories of industry abuse. The twists kept coming when an anonymous source leaked that the network had planted paparazzi outside Kirk's home to catch him looking distressed and sell the narrative of a fallen star. But Kirk turned the tables by releasing footage of the paparazzi, admitting they were paid by Mark himself. The public outrage exploded, with sponsors pulling out one by one, fearing association with the scandal. The family tried to find normalcy, again hosting a small backyard barbecue, but tensions boiled over when Jason showed up uninvited, pleading for forgiveness. "I was wrong, brother. The money blinded me." Kirk looked at him with mixed emotions, years of shared laughter now tainted by betrayal. "Maybe one day, but not today," he replied coldly, leaving a family caught in emotional limbo. Old friends from his early career reached out, offering support. One veteran actor called him saying I went through the same machine 20 years ago, they'd chew you up and spit you out. Glad you're fighting back. These conversations gave Kirk hope, but also revealed how widespread the problem was across Hollywood, with similar stories emerging from other family-oriented shows. The web of deceit grew wider as Kirk discovered connections to bigger players, including a famous director who had invested in the show and demanded more outrageous plots to justify his funding. It all pointed to a system where real families were sacrificed for profit margins and viewer addiction. The pain of it all weighed heavy on Kirk. During sleepless nights where he would pace the living room replaying every argument, every fake smile on camera, Lisa would join him holding his hand, whispering, "We built this life together and we'll rebuild stronger without them." Their bond grew deeper through the crisis, turning the betrayal into a strange kind of blessing. But the ultimate twist arrived when a former producer flipped and provided video evidence of Mark instructing staff to coach the kids on delivering lines that hurt their real parents. It was child exploitation wrapped in entertainment packaging, and Kirk knew this could bring the whole empire trashing down. Lawsuits flew back and forth, but with each new revelation, the network's defenses crumbled. Fans who once defended the show now demanded answers, creating online petitions for investigations into reality TV practices. The story dominated headlines for weeks, with experts weighing in on the psychological toll of such fabricated drama. Kirk sat for another recorded message, his eyes tired but resolute. "They thought firing me would shut me up, but it only amplified my voice. This isn't just my fight anymore. It's for every family they've manipulated." The emotions ran higher than ever as the family gathered for what they hoped would be a healing conversation, but old wounds reopened, leading to more tears and honest admissions that no camera had ever captured. Before the stage was now set for an even bigger bombshell, that would expose not only the firing, but the entire rotten foundation of the show that had once been America's sweetheart. But the ultimate bombshell dropped when Kirk uncovered the final layer of corruption that tied everything together. In one devastating knot, during a late-night dig through old hard drives, he found contracts proving the network had been planning his exit for over a year. Long before any ratings dip, they had already auditioned replacements and scripted an entire season. Without him framing his firing as a mutual decision to protect their precious brand, the shocking truth hit like a freight train as he played the audio for Lisa, where Mark could be heard laughing, with executives saying, "Kirk is too unpredictable. We need someone we can control completely." His family was left divided once more when his daughter confronted him in the kitchen. "Dad, if this is all true, why didn't you fight harder sooner?" Her words stung deep, but Kirk pulled her into a hug, explaining the years of subtle threats that kept him compliant. "They had dirt on all of us. Baby and I was scared of losing you all forever." Emotions ran high as Lisa joined the conversation, her voice shaking with betrayal. "They used our wedding anniversary episodes to push product placements while we were actually fighting behind the scenes. It was also fake." The kids listened wide-eyed as the full picture emerged of how producers had even bribed teachers at their school to report minor issues. For potential plot lines, it felt like their entire lives had been invaded. And sold for entertainment, the family drama reached new heights when Jason returned with a desperate plea for reconciliation. But this time, carrying his own evidence. "I recorded this last week," he said, sliding a USB across the table. "It shows Mark admitting they blackmailed me too with my gambling problem." Kirk stared at his brother-in-law, torn between years of brotherhood and the fresh wounds of betrayal. "You chose money over blood," he whispered, but after a long silence, he nodded, accepting the file as a step toward healing. Fans were shocked beyond belief when early leaks of this new evidence spread across social media. With hashtags like Justice for Kirk exploding overnight, support poured in from unexpected places, including former child stars of other reality shows who shared similar horror stories of manipulated childhoods and lost privacy. One famous actress tweeted her solidarity, saying, "They did the same to us. Stay strong, Kirk." The network responded with fury, launching a smear campaign that painted him as unstable and money-hungry, but it backfired spectacularly as more insiders came forward confirming the surveillance and forced storylines. The twists multiplied when Kirk learned that even his closest friend on the crew had been plant-feeding information for years. The confrontation happened in a rainy parking lot where Kirk faced him head-on. "You sold me out for what a bonus," he demanded, his voice cracking with hurt. The friend hung his head, admitting the pressure was too much. "They threatened my family too, but I'm sorry, man," this confession added another layer of pain, yet strengthened Kirk's resolve to expose it all. Meanwhile, at home, the family tried piecing themselves back together through tense therapy sessions that were now truly private. No cameras, no scripts. Lisa held Kirk's hand tightly, saying, "We almost lost each other to their lies, but this fight is bringing us closer than ever." His son surprised everyone by stepping up. "I want to help Dad," he said quietly. "I overheard them once talking about replacing all of us with actors." The revelation sent chills through the room and fueled a new wave of determination. The public reaction grew massive, with protests outside the network headquarters, demanding transparency and boycotts hitting their stock prices hard. Sponsors fled in droves as the scandal snowballed into something that threatened the entire reality TV industry. Kirk sat for yet another raw video update, his eyes intense as he addressed the camera directly. "They fired me to silence the truth. But the truth has a way of screaming louder." He paused, letting the weight sink in every fake. Every staged argument, every manipulated child was part of their machine, and I refused to be its poster boy anymore. The family gathered around him as he spoke. Feeling the collective strength after so much division, old rivals from within the show reached out. Privately, some confessing their own roles in the schemes while begging for forgiveness. One co-star broke down on a phone call, "I was jealous of your spotlight, Kirk, and they used that against me. I'm so sorry." These moments of accountability brought unexpected healing, but also more shocking discoveries, like how the executives had a dedicated war room for manufacturing celebrity scandals to distract from their own legal troubles. The web stretched into politics and big business, with the show serving as a soft power tool for influence. Kirk felt the personal stakes heavier than ever. Knowing one wrong move could cost his marriage or his kids' safety, yet he pushed forward, hiring investigators to trace every dirty dollar. The emotions peaked during a heated family dinner where accusations turned to understanding. Lisa finally said, "I blamed you at first, but now I see you saved us from a prison of pretend." Kirk nodded, tears in his eyes. "We were all victims, but now we're survivors." The support from fans turned into a movement, with online fundraisers for his legal battle and petitions for industry reform. Experts appeared on top shows dissecting the psychological damage of long-term reality exposure, calling it modern-day exploitation. The story dominated every headline, creating a cultural reckoning that no one expected from one man's firing. The betrayals kept unraveling as more tapes surfaced, showing producers coaching actors on how to gaslight Kirk during scenes, making him doubt his own sanity. It was psychological warfare disguised as television, and the world was horrified. Kirk walked through his old neighborhood, reflecting on the journey from rising star to whistleblower with Lisa by his side, their bond now unbreakable through the fire. The kids even began sharing their own small truths and support videos that went viral, further exposing the toll on young lives. Old friends from before fame called, offering resources and connections that helped build his case stronger than ever. The network scrambled with damage control interviews filled with lies, but each one only added fuel to the fire as Kirk countered with undeniable proof the shocking depth of their deception left everyone reeling, from loyal viewers who felt personally betrayed to industry insiders whispering that this could be the beginning of the end for scripted reality empires. The family found moments of peace amid the chaos, laughing together for the first time in months over simple dinners without the weight of cameras. The division was mending slowly but surely, replaced by a fierce loyalty. Forged in battle, yet Kirk knew the fight was far from over, with major revelations still waiting to drop that would shake the foundations even harder. And as the world watched in anticipation, the man they tried to silence was now the loudest voice in the room, demanding justice for every family they had broken along the way. But the final devastating twist came when Kirk unearthed the master plan that proved the network had never cared about the family at all. They had been grooving a complete replacement cast for months, scripting an entirely new season where his character would die off in a dramatic accident to boost sympathy ratings and clear the way for fresher faces. The audio recording captured Mark in a boardroom meeting, saying with cold laughter, "Kirk has become a liability. His wholesome image is holding us back. We need edgier drama, and he is too clean-cut to deliver it." Kirk played this for Lisa late one night, their faces illuminated only by the laptop screen as tears streamed down her cheeks. "They were planning to kill you off like you were nothing," she whispered, voice breaking with fury and grief. The family was left divided no more, as this revelation united them in outrage. His daughter hugged him tightly. "Dad, they wanted to erase you from our lives." His son stood tall for the first time, saying, "We won't let them." The emotions ran higher than ever during an emergency family summit, where everyone shared their hidden pains. Jason broke down completely, admitting he had signed papers to take over as the new patriarch if Kurt was removed. "I was weak," he sobbed, "but no more blood is blood." And they tried to buy mine, Kirk embraced him after years of tension, saying we all fell for their games, but now we rise together. This moment of reconciliation felt like a turning point, yet the shocking details kept pouring out as more whistleblowers emerged, revealing how the producers had hacked family phones to monitor private conversations and twist them into episodes. Fans were shocked when these hacks were exposed, leading to massive calls for federal investigations. Into privacy violations, the network tried one last desperate move by offering Kirk a huge payout and a spin-off show if he would kill the tapes, but he refused in a fiery recorded response. You think money can buy my silence after you tried to destroy my legacy and my children's futures, he declared, his voice filled with unyielding strength. Lisa stood by him, adding in her own statement, they made me question my worth as a wife and mother with their lies. But no more, the public rallied behind them harder than ever with celebrity. Supporters joining the chorus, including big names from other networks who had suffered similar fates. One famous host called Kirk, personally saying, "Brother, you are doing what we all wish we could," the industry was fracturing under the weight of the scandal with sponsors pulling out en masse and stock prices tumbling. The family tried to reclaim their narrative by starting a new podcast together, where they discussed real life without scripts. Their first episode broke records as listeners connected with the raw honesty. Kirk shared stories of the sleepless nights, the fear of losing everything, and the courage it took to stand up. Emotions peaked when during a live stream, a surprise caller turned out to be a former executive who apologized on air. "I enabled the machine," he confessed. "But your stand has woken me up." This unexpected ally provided even more documents showing bribes to tabloids and payoffs to silence past victims. The betrayals ran so deep that Kirk discovered connections to other popular reality families who were also being manipulated. The web was vast and dark, but he was determined to pull it all into the light. Heated arguments still surfaced at home, as healing was not linear. Lisa once yelled in frustration, "I supported you, but the constant spotlight is exhausting us." Yet they talked through it. Growing stronger, the kids began advocating for themselves, creating videos about protecting young stars from exploitation. Their messages resonated deeply, moving fans to tears. And action, the network launched lawsuits, but each one crumbled under Kirk's evidence. Mountain old friends returned in full force. And Protection One veteran producer even leaked the original firing footage, showing security roughly handling Kirk. While cast members whispered in glee, the visuals were damning and went viral, instantly amplifying the outrage. The family found joy in small victories, like family game nights without any cameras rolling, laughter replacing the old scripted smiles. But the ultimate climax built as Kirk prepared his grand reveal, a full-length documentary with all the tapes, interviews, and proofs combined. He sat in the same dimly lit room from the first leak, but this time with his entire family beside him. "We are not just survivors," he told the camera, "we are fighters, and the story ends with us taking back our power." Lisa added softly, "They fired you to break us, but they made us unbreakable." The kids chimed in with their truths, creating a powerful united front that no producer could have scripted. The reactions flooded in from around the world, with support messages pouring into their inboxes and protests growing larger. Fans who once felt entertained now felt complicit and demanded change. Experts predicted this could spark new laws protecting reality participants. The pain in the fight had transformed Kirk from a polished TV star into a fierce advocate. His journey inspired countless others to share their stories, turning one firing into a movement against industry exploitation. As the final pieces fell into place, with more insiders flipping and the network facing potential criminal probes, Kirk looked at his family with pride. "We lost the show, but we found ourselves again." The shocking reason behind his firing was never about ratings or ego. It was about a man refusing to let greed destroy what mattered most: his real family. And now, with the truth fully exposed, the empire that tried to silence him was crumbling, while Kirk stood taller than ever, ready for whatever came next in this wild, unpredictable chapter of their lives. But the saga reached its boiling point when Kirk dropped the complete unedited documentary that connected every shocking dot from the initial firing to the sprawling network of lies it exposed. How executives had been using artificial intelligence to generate fake fan letters and death threats against him just to keep him isolated and compliant. The footage showed Mark in private meetings bragging about breaking Kirk like a wild horse. The family watched the final cut together with tears and gasps as years of hidden pain flashed across the screen. Lisa held his hand, whispering, "You did it. You really saved us all." The kids cheered through their emotions. Feeling empowered for the first time in their young lives, Jason stood beside them fully, redeemed, saying, "I will testify in court if needed. This is our new beginning." The shocking revelations kept cascading as global media picked up the story, turning one man's firing into an international scandal that rocked the foundations of reality television. Fans were shocked into action, launching massive boycotts and flooding social platforms with demands for reform. Emotions ran high across every household that once tuned in for those fake family moments. Old cast members came crawling back with apologies, some offering to join Kirk's new independent project, free from corporate chains. The network faced lawsuits from multiple directions as more victims surfaced, sharing parallel stories of manipulation and betrayal. Kirk became a symbol of resistance, appearing on major talk shows where he spoke with raw passion. "They tried to bury me, but I rose stronger and now am here for every person they silenced." The family dynamics transformed completely from division to unbreakable unity, with laughter filling their home once more. No scripts, no producers, just real conversations that healed old wounds, yet questions lingered about whether justice would truly be served as the network hired top lawyers to drag out the cases in court. The twists continued when a high-level executive resigned publicly, citing moral conflict. After watching Kirk's documentary, it was a domino effect that no one predicted. Sponsors distanced themselves rapidly, while rival studios offered Kirk development deals for authentic storytelling. Without the drama manufacturing, his wife Lisa launched her own empowerment platform, sharing tools for families in toxic environments. Her voice carried newfound authority born from surviving the fire. The kids thrived in their advocacy, creating content that protected other young stars from similar fates. The entire journey from that rainy Tuesday firing to this moment of triumph proved that real courage could topple even the mightiest empires built on deception. Kirk sat with his family on their porch one quiet evening, reflecting on the chaos. "We lost the spotlight, but gained our souls back," he said softly, "and that is worth every battle." The public awaited the court outcomes with bated breath, wondering if this would spark lasting change in the industry, or if the machine would rebuild stronger than ever. But one thing remained crystal clear. Kirk had not only exposed the real reason behind his firing, but ignited a revolution that would forever alter how audiences viewed their favorite so-called reality families. The pain, the betrayals, and the ultimate victory all wove together into a story far more compelling than anything the producers could have scripted. And now, after everything that has unfolded in this explosive saga of betrayal, greed, and ultimate redemption, what do you think should happen next to the network that tried to destroy Kirk and his family? Will justice finally prevail, or will they find another way to silence the truth? The family remains united, but the road ahead is still filled with uncertainty and potential new threats that could test their bond once more. You have followed every twist, every tear, and every moment of raw courage. Now it is your turn to join the conversation. Hit that like button if you believe Kirk did the right thing by speaking out. Subscribe to stay updated on every new development in this ongoing drama. And drop your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think other reality stars should come forward with their stories, or is the industry too powerful to change? Tell us your opinions. We read every single one, and the most passionate takes might even get featured in our next video. Your voice matters in this fight against fabricated entertainment. Thank you for watching and being part of this incredible journey together. We can demand better for every family caught in the spotlight.